This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Anybody tell you it's gone way too far? No, nothing gonna help you when it falls apart. The prophets and the preachers told you, but you covered your ears, and now the end is near. Gonna tear it all down. 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 Call it revolution. Call it whatever you need. Make a resolution, battle till you bleed.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. You know it. I know it. I don't think it bears to be repeated, but we can say it over and over again if you'd like. Anyways, how are you? I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods as we are hanging and banging on this lovely Monday. Oh, yes. It is day 317th of the year. It is November the 13th, just in case if you were lost in a romance or a wilderness of pain. And it is only 48 days remaining before it is all over with. Yes, 48 days is the way that it works and how we take a look at it and go, when it's over. Yep, and the whole thing is over and done with. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Oh, yes, as we hang out with our friends in Radio Big, well, we get to do all kinds of cool stuff because they do some cool things over there. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. So just talking about it. So I guess we're close enough because we're about 10 days out. Are you already starting to make some plans for the Thanksgiving season? Yeah, Thanksgiving season. You know, it is. I mean, if you think about it, it is 10 days from today. Yeah, 10 days. Uno cero. Yeah, 1-0 there. So I don't know. What are you doing this year? Are you going to be around the week of Thanksgiving? Are you going to be gone? I mean, I don't know. Always a lot of stuff going on as we are hanging and banging. No doubt about that. So we'll figure it out what the hell we're doing. I still have no clue what I'm doing. I'm always lost. I always feel like I'm always lost. So there you go. Anyways, if you're not familiar with the show, let's talk about this real quick. We are a show that talks about safety and the news and safety. And we sometimes blend those two worlds together. We do have a few professional broadcasters that hang around here and tell you exactly what the hell's going on inside of the world of the news. So that way you know exactly what's going on. We are a radio show first, followed by a podcast, followed by a streaming video program all at the same time. So there you go. So sometimes people go, well, the video's not working, or the podcast, or, we focus on the radio aspect, and then we kind of move forward from there. You can take a listen to our radio station at safetyfm.com, where you'll find the Safety FM app, or you can listen to us on radiobig.fm, where you'll also be able to find the Radio Big app. So there you go. Or Live 365 if you want to use it in that format. iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, the Alexa skills, all of that kind of fun stuff. We are found among the multiverse. There is no doubt about that. So with that being said, if you want to interact with the show, simple process, callinradio.com will do it. Callinradio.com will get you over here and get you moving and grooving, grinding and binding in regards to what's going on. It's a real simple process in regards to doing so. Video, audio, and text messaging all available in one giant shot. That's what she said. So there you go. All kinds of fun stuff as we are talking. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and start talking about what the hell's trending inside of the multiverse?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so when I look at all the stuff that is going on, FTX is the grift that keeps on grifting, and millionaires feel the pinch of inflation of 2. We'll talk about that as we get into the hits list. Kel Mitchell shares more about the emergency room visit. And Kim and Croy celebrate their anniversary. An Elon Musk biopic is in the works. We'll talk about that in casting calls. And then we'll talk about what the hell is going on with the world of, safety. Because, we have to do that as well. Because we talk a little bit about everything. So there you go. So with that being said, why don't we do this? Why don't we move on and bring in some of the professional broadcasters and let them talk about what the hell is going on, because I think that it's important for them to do this, and tell us about what the hell is going on with the world of the news. What do you think? Do you think it's time to do that? I think it's time to do that. That way we can start moving and grooving and having all kinds of fun as we do this. So let's get into the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. Donald Trump Jr. will be back on the stand as the first defense witness in the Trump Organization's civil fraud trial in New York. Lawyers representing former President Trump, his sons, and their company will start their defense today. The Trump Family Organization is being accused of inflating their wealth to obtain better loans. The New York Attorney General's office ended its arguments on Wednesday and was denied a motion to limit certain expert witnesses from testifying for the defense. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says there may be a deal in the works to free more hostages held by Hamas.
The minute we started the ground operation, things began to change.
Appearing on NBC's Meet the Press, Netanyahu did not go into any detail, saying the chances of a deal are better the less he talks about it. He did say Israel was not close at all to any agreement until its forces began a ground operation into Gaza. The Prime Minister was responding to reports of a possible deal for the release of as many as 80 women, children, and elderly being held captive. An estimated 240 hostages are currently held by Hamas. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott is suspending his presidential campaign.
I am suspending my campaign. I think the voters, who are the most remarkable people on the planet, have been really clear that they're telling me, not now, Tim.
Scott made the announcement in an interview with Fox News on Sunday. He said he loves America more than he did when he started running, but when he returns to Iowa, it will not be as a presidential candidate. A state of emergency is being declared in Los Angeles as a result of a pallet fire that shut down a major highway indefinitely. Governor Gavin Newsom says the state is mobilizing resources to complete repairs and minimize the impact for travel in and around Los Angeles. The fire was first reported early Saturday morning at a storage yard underneath the 10 freeway. Officials hope to open at least one lane sometime today. And the Las Vegas Raiders came through with a 16-12 win over the New York Jets on Sunday Night Football at Allegiant Stadium. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. The World Health Organization says the situation at the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza is dire and perilous. 5 US troops have died in a helicopter crash in the East Mediterranean. Republican Senator Tim Scott has pulled out of the race for the White House. And Storm Debbie is due to bring gale force winds and heavy rains to parts of the UK.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
The U.S., South Korea, and Japan will soon begin sharing up-to-the-minute information on North Korea's missile activity. Scott Carr reports from Washington.
South Korea's defense ministry said Sunday the defense chiefs of all three nations have agreed to start a real-time sharing program in December. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin met in Seoul with his South Korean counterpart. Japan's defense minister Minoru Kihara joined the pair by phone and told reporters it marked the first time for the three ministers to hold such a gathering. They discussed the new three-way arrangement in the face of what one called severe security environments. They also condemned growing military cooperation between North Korea and Russia as a violation of UN resolutions. I'm Scott Carr.
A Senate Democrat says a GOP proposal to prevent a government shutdown sounds gimmicky, but he says he's open to hear about it.
This is no way to run a railroad. We shouldn't be in the position of having to pass multiple continuing resolutions.
Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, Connecticut's Chris Murphy was referring to House Speaker Mike Johnson's two-step continuing resolution that would allow for some funding to run out on January the 19th before a final deadline on February 2nd. Murphy said he doesn't like the laddered approach, but added that the U.S. cannot have a government shutdown. Friday is the deadline for Congress and President Biden to approve funding that would avoid a shutdown. One person is dead and at least 4 more injured after a shooting at a Texas flea market. The Pearland Police Department says it happened Sunday afternoon during an argument between 2 people, although it's unclear if they both had guns. So far, nobody has been taken into custody. And Timothy Chalamet is taking some criticism online for a joke about Hamas on Saturday Night Live. The actor hosted the show over the weekend. The joke came during a skit written by Please Don't Destroy, where Chalamet played a suicidal aspiring musician with the Instagram name Hamas, spelled just like the Palestinian militant group at war with Israel. Several people took to X to express disappointment and call the joke out for poor taste. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Well, you know that here at Safety FM and Radio Big, we're always trying to look for life hacks, though. With the busy season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for your jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kits, can help you fuel up with fast chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, and ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 weekly flavored packs. Dietitian-approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you need to do is head over to factorsmeals.com/safetyfm50 and use code safetyfm50 to get 50% off. That's code safetyfm50 at factormeals.com/safetyfm50 to get 50% off. Go there. Do it now.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com thought-provoking.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HomeTitleLock.com.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you. Yep, that's what we do. We sit around and we wait for you, no doubt about that. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely, I want to call it a Friday, but you know it's a Monday. So there you go, on this lovely Monday, doing the things that we get to do, no doubt about that. So you are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show, so why don't we get into what we are known for, and that's talking about the world of the news. So let's do that right now. Anyways, two former FTX employees are seeking a $100 million investment for 10% of their new crypto exchange startup, which they say won't be the same thing as Sam Bankman-Fried's, that put Sam Bankman-Fried's in prison. So, CanSun is heading out. Oh, yeah, hold on. Yeah, let's kind of go slow. CanSun is heading the new outfit called Trek Labs. He was the former chief counsel for FTX who testified against SBF just a few weeks ago. One of his former staff at FTX is already along for the ride. For what it's worth, the technology that they're developing safeguards customers' funds and would make it impossible for their exchange to move them around with or without the customer's consent or knowledge. Speaking of questionable business models, electric vehicle company Lucid last week announced its quarterly earning reports, or lack thereof. The manufacturer reported losses in the amount of $433,000 for each car sold. Yeah, just in case if you heard me, $433,000 for each car sold. Yeah, that's what I said. So let's see. Lucid, the California-based electric vehicle company that makes Air sedan, lost over $430,000 for every car that it sold in the third quarter of this year. According to the firm's latest report, in Q3, it reported the revenues of $137.8 million, down from $195.5 million in the same period last year. But there was a bit of a messy because its net losses amounted to more than $630.9 million, $100 million more than last year, all while delivering 1,459 vehicles. That's roughly $433,000 loss for every car sold. Granted, it's better than the $544,000 lost over the period of every vehicle sold in Q2. But it's still massively amount of money considering that that it is the most expensive vehicle sold by the marquee that costs about $250,000. Lucid manufactured about, 1,550 EVs in quarter 3 of 2023, and it's less than half of the 3,493 units at the peak recorded back in the fourth quarter of last year. With all that being said, the company revised the production guidance for its year of 8,000 to 8,500 units, down to the previous goal of 10,000 to 14,000 units. The first 9 months of the year, the company losses were $2.17 billion, up from $1.83 billion recorded from that same period in 2022. So there you go. I don't know. I'm when it comes to cars in particular, that's terrible to hear. I mean, it's terrible to hear regardless, but do you really want to buy a branded car that you're not familiar with? Now, think about it. These cars are packed with technology because, I mean, you can't say that they're not. I mean, you can't say it, but it's not true. But what's going to happen if something happens to this company and they go under? Nobody's going to be able to work on it. And that's not even keeping in consideration the Alan Ruck mess that happened last week or 2 weeks ago at this point, where he had a vehicle accident, but they're saying that he wasn't inebriated and it seems that it was something wrong with the car.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
So take a listen to this. $1 million just ain't what it used to be, apparently. And the Ameriprise Financial Survey shows that 60% of investors who had at least $1 million worth of investable assets say that the best upper middle class, about a third say that it's a squarely middle class. Worth noting, most of these respondents aren't wealthy executives or high earners either. They're people with strong retirement savings and major home equity who still feels the squeeze of inflation and relentless economic uncertainty. So what do you think about this? I mean, at this particular point, I mean, you would have to already believe that $1 million is not what it used to be. Of course not. It was a difficult feat when I was a child. I can't imagine, and how it has changed, or how it, how you could look at it where it's not something that it's obtainable now for some. So there you go. Anyway, take a listen to this. French police stopped the team of bandits trying to make off with 600,000 euros worth of champagne on Friday. The bust culminated in a high-speed chase after the thieves stole 2 trucks carrying the bubbly. The owner of the truck made the detective work easy, giving the police a location of tracking devices installed on them. While officers were able to recover the goods, the crooks were able to get away. Good news is no bottles of champagne were damaged in the attempted heist, but they were drank. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. 600,000 euros worth of champagne. I mean, what is this stuff? I mean, let's talk about that. Maybe that's a different story. Anyways, conservationists are working to figure out why a massive pond in Hawaii has turned a bright pink color. The water at the center of the Kealia Pond and Wildlife Refuge on Maui has unexpectedly turned into a strange hue, and the scientists work on figuring out why, the warning visitors not to wade into the water or worse, drink from it. Worth noting, initially researchers suggested the microbe that thrives in the water has relatively high salt concentration and could be behind the color changes, according to CBS News. So there you go. Take a listen to this. An escaped lion has been captured after being on the run in an Italian town, which was located near Rome. The big cat was on the loose for about 5 hours before he was spotted, sedated, and captured and returned to the local circus staff, according to a statement from the mayor. As for how the lion escaped, the circus staff reported seeing 3 people running away from the animal cage Saturday morning, and then they went to check things out and found that the lock was broken. The incident is now under investigation. Yeah, it sounds like somebody let him loose. So there you go. There you go. Some stuff going on right there as we are talking. No doubt about that. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the box office. Let's do that real quick. Let's talk about from number 10 to number 1, and we'll do it in that particular fashion. At number 10 was The Exorcist Believer with $1.1 million. At number 9 was Radical with $1.7 million. At number 8, Paw Patrol, the Mighty Movie, $1.8 million. At number 7, Journey to Bethlehem, $2.4 million. At number 6, The Holdovers with $3.2 million. At number 5, Killers of the Flower Moon, $4.6 million. At number 4 was Priscilla with $4.7 million. At number 3, Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, $5.9 million. At number 2, yes, it did slide down, Five Nights at Freddy's with $9 million. And coming in at the number 1 spot was The Marvels with $47 million. Yep, $47 million is what The Marvels made. Some people were complaining about it not doing too well. I don't know. I don't know what the expectations were. I mean, but keep in mind that Captain Marvel, if I remember correctly, made over $1 billion when it came out. So we'll see. Anyways, let's do this. Let's bring some Erin Royale inside and let her tell us about Money Matters.
Drivers in Texas are still enjoying the nation's lowest gas prices. According to AAA, the average price in the Lone Star State is $2.80 per gallon. Texas is one of only 10 states under $3 a gallon. California is the only state with pump prices topping $5 a gallon this past weekend. AAA says the national average is $3.37 per gallon. The Department of Education is preparing to send out secret shoppers to student loan providers. Brad Siegel has more.
On Friday, the department announced a new accountability plan to hold loan servicers accountable and ensure borrowers are getting proper service. The plan uses a combination of data gathering, borrower complaints, and first-hand monitoring to ensure people are treated fairly by student loan companies. Officials will also monitor loan servicer interactions, listen in on customer service calls, and track record keeping. I'm Brad Siegel.
A24 is developing an Elon Musk biopic. Matt Mattinson has the story.
Variety confirms Darren Aronofsky is on board to direct. It'll be based on the recently published authorized biography of the controversial billionaire by Walter Isaacson. The author's Steve Jobs book was also adapted into a 2015 film of the same name starring Michael Fassbender. Variety reports there was competition between studios and filmmakers to option the book.
10 men in California, Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania are being charged for allegedly organizing a massive refund fraud scheme. The men allegedly used social media to recruit customers to place online orders from retailers. They would then fraudulently initiate a refund transaction and keep the item even though they were refunded the full price. The scheme resulted in millions of dollars of losses. Another round of job cuts is coming to Amazon. The online retail giant has initiated job cuts in its music division. This year's layoffs have affected more than 27,000 employees globally. The latest round of pink slips are going to workers in Latin America, North America, and Europe. Consumer and business news, Aaron Real, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Aaron, for that information right there. Let's talk about the Dow that was up by 391 points to close at 34,283 on Friday. The S&P added about 67 points to close at 4,415, and the Nasdaq increased by 276 points to close at 13,798. West Texas Intermediate closed at $77 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $81 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas on Sunday was $3.37. Bitcoin was mostly flat over the weekend, trading just around $37,150, and there was more than 2,095 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Sunday, with about 55 such cancellations. Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $245 million jackpot or $110.7 million cash payout. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $235 million $235 million jackpot or $107.9 cash payout. So there you go. If you can play, you want to play, don't want to play, I don't care. You play, do whatever you want to do with the play. You know, that kind of stuff. That's what people do. They play the game, don't want to play the game, sometimes want to play the game. It's kind of a mixed bag. Anyways, Republican presidential candidate and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie says the protests waving Palestine flags are getting horrible information. Christie was in Israel on Sunday, where he visited the wounded soldiers and met with family members of hostages and held by the Palestinian militant group Hamas.
I want to see it for myself. Okay. Be able to talk to the American people who are supportive of Israel, but they need to know exactly what happened here, and they need to hear it from some of their leaders as well.
He said that the Israel-Hamas conflict is divisive here across the U.S. There are those divisions that are being driven by people with much different agenda than the truth. Christie is the Republican presidential candidate to travel, or is the first Republican presidential candidate to travel to the country since the outbreak. Republican presidential candidate and former New Jersey governor says that the U.S. must stand on the shoulders to shoulders with Israel after the initial Hamas attacks.
I want the people of Israel to know that there are hundreds of millions of Americans who stand with them, who understand the atrocities that were committed.
I mean, does anybody here really, truly understand the atrocities that are committed? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a weird comment, but I guess something to think about as we are talking. Take a listen to this one real quick. People living in Grand Rapids, Burton Heights neighborhood held a peace vigil Saturday night to remember the 3 people found shot to death on Monday afternoon. Police Chief Eric Windstrom says that the 19-year-old Malik Eubanks, his 20-year-old girlfriend Anaya Rodriguez, and the 32-year-old Daryl Yaver all died too young, and people are not putting up with violence.
We've already executed over 10 search warrants related to this. We're going to keep it up. I'll tell you, I'm confident. I'm confident in our detectives, and I'm confident that we're going to find justice for these family members.
He says that they have executed 10 search warrants and add that their searches at 2 Flavor Smoke Shop locations might be related to the shooting death. Also, Eric went as far as saying that it would not give any information about the searches at the 2 Flavored Smoke Shop locations, but did say they might be linked to the murder.
Whether or not that ties directly to the murder is something that I am not able to talk about right now, but we are definitely headed in the right direction on this homicide.
So there you go. Some information right there as we are talking. Take a listen to this. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is defending himself against accusations that the FBI is investigating his role in a Turkish consulate project. Mark Mayfield has more.
The FBI is reportedly focusing on text messages related to the opening of the Turkish government's consulate in Manhattan. Federal investigators are looking into whether or not the texts from Adams helped fast-track the opening of the new building in 2021. This comes after the FBI raided the Brooklyn home of his top fundraiser. Adams has said he will fully cooperate with investigators. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to help out in regards to when the FBI is investigating you. Just an idea. Anyways, hundreds of tow trucks drivers from around the state gathered in Hastings on Saturday morning for a processional to honor 25-year-old truck-driven Keegan Spencer. Yeah, truck-driven. I should probably say truck driver. And T&J President Joey Byrd says that they were sending his friend off in a big way. This is coming out of Hastings, Michigan.
Keegan looked at me and said, if something ever happens to me, I need you to send me off with a bang. And I promised him, and that's what we're doing.
Spencer was hit and killed by a vehicle while on the job on November the 4th when he was in the median of M6 trying to help a dog. The truck's headed to the Valley Church for Spencer's funeral. The T&J President Joey Byrd says the procession for his friend and fellow tow truck driven driver Keegan Spencer was important.
We're one giant family, and when one of us goes down, we're here no matter what. So,
yeah, think about that. Think about that real quick in regards of when those people are there, in regards of trying to help you and how important it is for what they do. So there you go. Anyways, currently 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so there it is. It is time to do that thing that we do around this time, which is our main story. Yeah, some story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So when we do that thing that we call the main story, it's super important because it is the main attraction of our show. So it is what we talk about during this time that sometimes people go, well, that doesn't make any sense, or it does make sense, or go, it's time to turn the channel. Yeah, people do say that. Yeah. The channel changing thing, it does happen from time to time. And that's okay because that's what we do. We don't want everybody to love everything that we say all the time because that seems kind of, blah when you kind of give it some thought, for sure.
Duh.
But with that being said, let's talk about this today. You know that you work with people that you might not love. You might work with people that you don't agree with. You might work with people that you do love, and you might work with people that you do agree with. But from time to time, we run into these weird scenarios where we work with people that even though we might not agree with what they do, we might not agree with what is their outcome of what they do for work or the things that they are doing, sometimes they have some large impacts inside of the environment. I can tell you years ago, I worked at a very well-known retailer. Yeah, this was years and years ago. I'm trying to think here. We're probably talking at this point close to 30 years. And probably one of the most misunderstood people in the whole place was the guy that was in charge of loss prevention inside of one particular store location. This guy thought that everyone was guilty. This guy thought that everybody was stealing. He would check your bags. He would check your notebooks. He would check a little bit of everything as they were doing stuff, just from the standpoint to make sure that you weren't doing anything, questionable. That is for sure. No doubt about that. But with that being said, I want to say this real quick. Even though people always kind of looked at him off kilter, he was doing it from a standpoint that he thought everyone was guilty, but he was trying to help out the organization. And people didn't look at it that way. They looked at it from the standpoint of, well, what is wrong with this guy that he thinks that everybody is guilty? And I'm not saying that that's the factor of what's going on inside of your place, but there are always that one person that sticks out of that, well, that's a company person, or they don't really care about anything except the company. But if you look at the grander picture of things, sometimes when you look at it, you might realize that, hey, they're really trying to help. And the amazing part is that you don't realize it, but the impact that they have on the organization could change everything. The impact that they have on the organization puts things in a different light sometimes. So as you sit back for a moment and really give this some thought and really put some credence to this, do you have somebody who comes to mind? Do you have someone who you look at and go, yeah, this particular person can change the way the organization is impacted by how they do their job? Because if you look at it and go, well, could I line up with this person? Could we do things together to help the greater good of the organization, the greater good of what's going on with the people inside of the organization? And you can flip those around. One sequence doesn't have to be higher than the other. But that's the stuff that we have to look at. That's the stuff that we have to sometimes go, okay, it doesn't make any sense in regards of, not partnering with someone who would have that kind of impact. It doesn't make any sense to ignore them. And the reason that I reference this is not to go, oh, okay, this person's impact is going to help everything. But sometimes some people just need a little bit of guidance. It's not that they're bad people. It's that sometimes they don't know how to approach others. I will tell you, for years and years and years and years, the approach that I had towards people probably was not the greatest. And sometimes in retrospect, it's easier to look at that than to understand it as you're doing it in real time. So as you look at things today, would you give this some consideration? Would you give this some thought in regards of what needs to happen next? I don't know. It's something to think about. I always try to mention some of the things that are nonsensical to some.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things is mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
If you think local radio sucks, wait till you hear our free-form station, Radio Big.
But you waited too long, and now your chance is gone. Gonna tear it all down. 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 Burn down in the fire. Let it all go down in flames. Let it all burn down in the fire. Let it all go down in flames. Let it all burn down in the fire. Let it all burn down in the fire. Let it all burn down in the fire.
Okay, let it burn. Tear it all down. Yeah, this is the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. You know, that's our number one. We also refer to it as the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, this right here is the complete fiction. No, seriously, it's the complete fiction. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music. It's called Tear It All Down. We would like to thank Complete Fiction for allowing us to play it here on the Rated R Safety Show. You know how it goes around here. We like to play music. We like to give you some of the skinny-inny. So there you go. we have to play some. I know we have to get some good music going. You know how it goes around here. So there you go. Thanks once again for allowing us to play this to complete fiction. Complete fiction. Anyways, let's get into some stuff real quick because, it is time. Yes, it is time for me to talk to you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. All you have to do to get this all started is go to their website, twloha.com. That's twloha.com. That will get everything moving. Click on the section that says Find Help. That way we can get you moving and grooving and going from there. No doubt about that. To Write Love on Her Arms. Listen, once you get there and click on Find Help, all kinds of resources available, anything from related to how to get a scholarship, some international resources, how you can suggest a program if you want to, and view frequently asked questions regarding how to find help. All you have to do is go to twloha.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. That simple. Listen, it's important for us to have this discussion, talk about it, move, groove, and so on. So, twloha.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Let's have that conversation. Not sometimes, but all the time, because it's important all the time to discuss. No doubt about that. Anyways, take a listen to this real quick. Who left their toys in the hall? Well, despite the fact that he started in the biggest movie of the year, the Ken doll didn't make the cut. But Fisher-Price Corn Popper has been voted into the National Toy Hall of Fame, alongside with baseball cards, Cabbage Patch Kids, and the Nerf foam toys. The Toy Hall of Fame in Rochester, New York, announced on Friday that the Fisher-Price Popper, a push toy that encourages babies to walk, has been chosen by fans who were invited to celebrate the Hall's 25th anniversary by voting on one of 5 toys that have made it into the finals for more than once, but has been passed over. The rest of so-called Forgotten 5 included the Pogo Stick, My Little Pony, Pez dispensers, and Transformers. I really hope that the barrel of monkeys in the Hall of Fame, because it's kind of set the standard. There's nothing more fun than that. Okay, I'm sorry, but there's no part of the Toy Hall of Fame that doesn't include, Sasquatch. So there you go. I don't know. Some stuff to think about for sure. No doubt about that. What do you think? Did you even know that there was a Toy Hall of Fame? I mean, I don't know. Kind of a weird one. Anyway, take a listen to this. The GOP presidential hopeful Nikki Haley says that she isn't concerned about former President Trump's sizable lead in the polls. Take a listen.
Speaking on Fox News Sunday, the former South Carolina governor said people are getting tired of the drama surrounding Trump.
We are surging in the polls. Not only are we surging in the polls, if you look in the swing states, it shows that we beat Biden by 10 to 13 points.
Haley, who served in the Trump administration as U.S. ambassador to the UN, called him the right president at the right time. I'm Trey Thomas.
So here's my question. Does the word surge mean something different now? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking the question because I need to have a better understanding. So there you go. Anyways, a House Republican who is part of the bipartisan delegation in Israel is criticizing those who are calling for a ceasefire. Trey Thomas has more.
Speaking on ABC's This Week, New York Congressman Mike Lawler said people who are demanding a ceasefire totally misunderstand what's happening in the region.
Hamas is not some organization that is going to abide by a ceasefire. They are hell-bent on eradicating the state of Israel.
Lawler said nobody would have called for a U.S. ceasefire after 9/11. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for that information right there. Take a listen to this. Amtrak service from New York City to New York City's Penn Station to Albany is suspended for Monday morning. Its commute. Lisa Salvatore has more.
Amtrak officials say they canceled service Sunday afternoon due to structural problems at an 11th Avenue parking garage located above the Empire Line tracks. Changes for the morning commute include more trains starting and ending at Croton Harmon. Passengers' tickets will be honored by Metro North between Croton Harmon and Grand Central Station. Amtrak officials advise affected passengers to check Amtrak.com, Amtrak's app, or Amtrak NEC Alerts X, formerly Twitter, for a full list of service changes. Lisa Salvati, NBC News Radio, New York.
NBC News Radio, New York. It's kind of a hard one when you're trying to say a report and then you have to put the X inside of there and change that up because people are not just used to saying that yet. So it just kind of gets a weird one when they do that pitter-patter portion on when they're talking. Anyways, the chair of the House of Foreign Affairs Committee says the exchange of Palestinian prisoners in Israel for hostages held captive by Hamas is under intense negotiation.
Very sensitive negotiations with the Qataris. They're kind of the lead broker, if you will, of this negotiation.
Broker. Speaking on CBS Face the Nation, the Texas Republican Mike McCall stopped short of saying that it would happen, but says that he believes that Hamas wants, only if they want to do it. McCall added that the ceasefire is impossible without the release of all hostages held by Hamas. McCall is part of the bipartisan congressional delegation visiting Israel. McCall also said that he and other congressmen met with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin earlier today. Texas Representative McCall also said the prisoner exchange is under intense negotiation. Take a listen to the deets.
What Hamas wants would be a swap of prisoners in Israel as an exchange for these hostages, both Americans and Palestinians.
So what do you think? What do you think when you hear that? Do you think it's a possible swapper-opper or no way Jose in regards of it going on? I'm just asking the question because, hey, we do not know. We do not know. There is no doubt about that. Take a listen to this real quick. The United States has carried out airstrikes in Syria. Megan Fitzgerald reports.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin in a statement saying the U.S. will defend itself and its personnel. It's the latest response from the Pentagon to a spike in attacks from Iranian-backed groups on U.S. forces.
On Sunday, a U.S. defense official said that the strikes were conducted against Iran-aligned GRIBs. One of the targets was reportedly a weapon storage facility. Also, Megan reports there has been several attacks against American targets.
There have been at least 47 attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria since October 17th. Since then, at least one American has died of a heart attack, with at least 56 others suffering minor injuries.
So how familiar are you with this information that's going on? I mean, this is the first that I'm hearing about it, but always love to share what is going on. No doubt about that. Anyways, with that being said, let's go into something a little bit more positive if we can. Here is some John Smalls coming your way with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. Today's quote was submitted by Cole. Sophocles said, "All men make mistakes, but a good man yields when he knows his course is wrong and repairs the evil. The only crime is pride." Cole is always putting out these heavy quotes, but I love him, Cole. Thanks for doing that. It makes me think a little more. Have you ever thought one way, then changed your mind on something when you learned a little more about the topic? I have. A bunch. On many things. It's called learning and growing. Sadly, some people get so vested in one opinion, they cannot stand to change their mind, even when they know they should. Don't ever fall into that trap. Be open to adjusting your way of thinking when you learn more. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Medical history is made by surgeons at Chicago's Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Perry Williams with more on that.
After removing a Missouri man's failing lungs, Dr. Ankit Barad says they kept his heart in place with size double D artificial breast implants until new lungs could be transplanted.
We needed something to support his heart, and the double D breast implants seemed to be the perfect fit.
This is the first time doctors have used implants to stabilize the chest cavity.
RSV will be making its rounds this season. The most vulnerable are the elderly and also infants. Trey Thomas with more.
Dr. Alenia Stevens says infants are most at risk of death from RSV.
Most people by the age of 2 will be exposed to RSV and find some immunity. Babies don't always have all of the immune system to kind of fight the virus.
She says there's a vaccine for expectant mothers that lowers the risk of an infant being hospitalized with RSV by half.
Health updates. Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
The quiz, hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar?
Is it air conditioning?
Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
Okay, there you go. 54 minutes past the top of the hour as we are still hanging and banging here on the Jay Allen in the Morning Show, or the Rated R Safety Show, depending on how you want to take a look at it, because you can, they're interchangeable. They really are if you kind of take a look at it. Anyways, take a listen to this. This happened back in, let's see, where do we want to look? Let's look back at 2001. President George Bush signs an executive order allowing military tribunals against foreigners suspended of connection to the terrorist acts that were planned against the United States. It is the first of such acts since World War II. That happened back in 2001. Let's take a look at some birthdays that are going on today. Lucy Fallon turns 28. Julia Michaels, 30. Caleb Presley turns 31. Devon Bosket turns 32. Monique Coleman, 43. Meta Worldwide turns 44. Gerald Butler turns 54. Steven Zahn, 56. Jimmy Kimmel turns 56. Jimmy Kimmel's 56. I wouldn't believe that. Whoopi Goldberg turns 68. And Joe Mantegna turns 76 today. So there you go. There's some birthdays that are going on. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I always have some of those to discuss. It's World Orphans Day, National Hug a Musician Day, Symphonic Metal Day, Odd Socks Day, World Kindness Day, and National Indian Pudding Day. Yeah, there you go. There's some mixture of stuff that you can take a look at and celebrate if you're so inclined to do so. Let's talk about did you know? Would you deactivate your TikTok for a month if you were paid $59? What about Instagram? Would it cut for $47? In a study, the National Bureau of Economics researchers found that social media users could be willing to break their scrolling habits on these platforms for a fee. The report says that the users would require substantial compensation to stop using the social media when others say that the networks keep using it. Interestingly, the same study found that the users would be willing to pay $28 and $10 to have their friends and themselves all deactivate TikTok and Instagram. Retrospectively, the researchers say that the sign of social media could be a product market trap. So what do you think about it? What do you think when you hear that? Is it something that you would give some consideration to? Or you go, what the hell is this even report about? I mean, I can understand both aspects here. No doubt about that. I don't know. I think that some people are so intertwined to social media that there's no way they could give it up. I'm just saying. I'm not picking here. I'm just saying it the way that it is. There you go. No doubt about that. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, let's go ahead and give you one of those because I think we should do that. I just checked my bank account. Anybody in need of a kidney? There you go. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What widely accepted fact do you believe is wrong? Cutting your hair makes it grow faster. Sugar makes kids hyper. You should stretch before exercising. What else? Question, 29% of us do this out of obligation, not because we want to. What is it? Host relatives during the holidays. So there you go. There's some stuff right there. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. Thanks for hanging out on this lovely Monday. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out for the next couple hours or so. If not, that's okay. You can hang out on Safety FM and hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he does the things that he does in the world of safety consulting. So there you go. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Work hard and silent and let success be your noise. Keep that in mind. That's for sure. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it doesn't make any sense to do what we do around here. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Gonna tear it all down. 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 Call it revolution. Call it whatever